Hey y'all, how you guys doing? I want to touch on a few things today. Okay, I really am frustrated with this Thanksgiving thing. Um, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Okay, I do not. And my reasons are very valid. I feel like everybody should not be celebrating Thanksgiving. Um, but people do it. Our excuse is because of family and we're giving thanks. But it's kind of a mixture of like some sick, uh, genocide slash religion based thing. And I can't seem to understand it. The fact that it's about pillaging and killing thousands, like millions of people, all right, and destroying their homes and families and celebrating it still on their land. Still on their land. Okay? Like I don't know if everybody else can see that. I don't know what everybody's doing, you know? But you're still on their land celebrating the genocide of individuals. It's like it's like Americans going to Japan and celebrating the destruction of their city every year. Okay? And instead we're going to have green soup to celebrate the nuclear, like, this is what we doing, you know what I'm saying? And then we're buying these stuff, the turkey, the jet, all of that stuff is all it's a symbolic representation of indigenous people dead. Like, that's sick. And we still to this day put on a Christian stamp on it and say we are giving thanks to God for this food and for having us. You should be giving thanks every day. Like, give thanks every day. I don't understand. Give thanks every day. Like, that should not be one day out of the year and y'all come together. You could do that anytime, So I just feel like that's nonsense. And I feel like how we stop and remember 9/11 and the wars, and they have Memorial Day and all these other days, that like Thanksgiving is truly a Memorial Day. I rather fast on that day. I rather take the time to only cook meals for myself, small meals at that, just to fill me for that day, to do its job, not out of enjoyment, but just out of necessity. Like, okay, I'm full. Let me continue because I all I can do is sit there and remember, sit there and remind myself of what this day is about. And energetically, it's extremely violent and toxic. It has a sick origin. So it's like, why I can't sit around everybody and act like this is not what the origin is. I can't sit around and act like this is not about genocide of my people. Okay? My indigenous people. This is crazy. The fact that we just ignore it like it's not us. It's not us. It's got to be them those ones. Not, no. It's us too. So I can't do it, and I'm trying to at least show a sense of awareness and share that, not hostily. I'm not saying you have to give it up or anything like that, and this is not a hostile front, but this is a sense of awareness to think about what you're doing. Okay? Think about it, because there's not many countries that do that, have celebratory fashions on it. It's really a Caucasian and a European type of culture to remember days of conquering and destroying places and making them into holidays. Okay, so, but really that is not healthy. It's not healthy. It makes no sense, especially that you are making these holidays on the same friggin' land as where the indigenous are, that are still alive to this day. And you have it as a whole countrywide, thing, Thanksgiving, and these are the items you have to eat. on these days. This is what it means. We do this. No. Mm-mm. I feel like this should be a day of remembrance. Since we want to remember about all these other individuals that's died throughout the war, throughout all these tragic things, we should be able to remember the indigenous too and take a moment of silence. Wow, we could all come together and cook to feed the homeless, cook and feed individuals that can't feed themselves, cook to help somebody else, or put together them same funds and help some individuals. Something. Do something with that time. Give back to the earth, or give back in some way, and to show gratitude in that sense. Help people, because a lot of people have died on that around this time, because you don't want to say on that day because it's a Gregorian calendar, but around this time. So instead of sitting here just stuffing our faces and getting drunk and watching this and that, why don't we sit down and really be aware of what we are doing, be consciously aware of what we're doing, and stop doing things that make no sense. Stop confusing your spirit. Because at 9/11, we all not finna go and have Thanksgiving, are we? Or Memorial Day, we gonna have that and call it Thanksgiving? Think about it. The same thing with any other tragic situation. Are we going to put it together? I guess for the Holocaust, we put together a whole thing and call it Thanksgiving, and then just have all the same type of foods and say this is a representation of this and that, even though they do have that as a form of remembering, but it's not in a celebratory fashion, but more in a memorial fashion. And we're doing it all wrong and disrespectfully, so disrespectfully to our own ancestors and to our indigenous ancestors, our indigenous people that come from various different backgrounds. Indigenous is not only the Asiatic, come from Asia and have that straight look, but there's all different type of indigenous that came, because indigenous just means the original people. But there was massive amount of people that traveled for thousands of years back and forth, and a lot of mixing and dwelling and all of that. Okay, but hence you still had black individuals. You still had my hair like this and straight and whatever the case may be, but they still considered themselves indigenous and still known themselves and still knew their tribe and all of that. But to this day, we don't even have remembrance of them or of ourselves, but we sit down and we stuff our mouths, get drunk and do this and do that and call it Thanksgiving. The manipulation is so strong, but it's not that strong. Use your brain. Doesn't make sense. Think about it. Would you want somebody to kill your family and then come to the house every year and celebrate it? And your family still live there. Some of your family, you know what I'm saying? The kids, the offspring of them still live there, and they have to see them come and celebrate on their porch about killing your family. That's crazy. Sick. And I guess that fact alone is the reason why I cannot be outside and celebrate with y'all. I can't. I cannot sit at a table, even if it's with God and this, even if we're talking about God and there's a pastor right there, I don't care. Unless we are sitting here in remembrance, in silence, and learning and education on what has happened. Unless we are doing that, that's the only way. And not even that deserves food. We shouldn't have any food at that time. We should eat hastily just like the Hebrews did. Because I'm pretty sure they ate hastily in a situation like that. No? They probably didn't even eat. They were poisoned, remember? Why are we eating? Think, guys. Put your comments and opinions in, put whatever you want in the comments and how you feel about this. But I want you to use your thinking caps at least. Use it. Okay? Thank you.